kind of rare these days for any of us to see a post or a statement from President Trump to have us go, that's a little bit different. I mean, he'll say things that make you go, wow, or great, or good, or, oh, geez, whatever. But something that seems like out of line for him a little bit. That's why this one took me by a surprise this morning. I wake up and find an alert from Trump that he posts, because I have to keep, track of all this stuff, obviously, because he's such a headline maker, where he threatens to sick the DOJ on big oil companies because they're not lowering gases fast enough. First reaction, just waking up, and he did. I think he posted this at like 12:06 a.m. or something like this. He was on a posting storm last night. First reaction might have been the same thing you did. You're like, good, we need lower gas prices. And then I thought, this is different for him. What do we know about this particular president? He's got to be, I think he is. I think he's the most free market president we've ever had because he comes from the world of business. So for him to want the Department of Justice to get involved with a business element like the oil companies, even though we know all about the oil companies, that's different even for him. For him to be able to do that, I think there's something actually to it, and they have been gouging us, which seems to make sense. My takeaway is this. We know how fast the gas prices can go up. When's the last world conflict you had or anything else? You drive to work the next morning, you're like, wow, gas prices are up 40 cents. That happened quickly. The little sign changers at your local gas station got out there right quick, didn't they? But boy, are they slow to lower gas prices, and he seems to be pretty ticked off about it. Anyway, we'll get into it. Thanks for finding me. Appreciate you. Wicked Radio live stream and podcast, X, YouTube, Facebook, and the replay there, and the audio podcasts posted shortly thereafter. Well, let's get right to it. So here's the statement just from the other day. I think it was the day before yesterday. He was in Pennsylvania talking to the workers at the Mack Truck Company, right? It was a great speech. You know how he is. He gets energized. Maybe that's why he was on a post storm last night. He gets energized when he speaks to a crowd, loves doing it. He's never going to stop doing it, even when he's out of office. And he was talking about this very same issue. Of course, he's going to talk about the wins with Iran and the deal, and it's getting hammered out. It's going to be good. But specifically about these oil prices, which is what the American consumer, you, me, everybody else is really concerned about, right? Sure, world safety. But we're all selfish. We have July 4th plans coming up right around the corner. He addressed it. Now, here's what he said just the day before yesterday.
The average price of gasoline nationwide is down 60 cents a gallon just from a short while ago. And remember this.
Then he went into the, security issue and all this other stuff, and he's posted it after that as well about the, prices of gas. Where are we right now? Let's just get a quick check. And I asked Grok, and I think ChatGPT came up with the exact same thing because they're both going by AAA for this. So where are we right now? As of this morning, unless you're watching this or listening on a replay later on, in real time on Wednesday morning, what's the average price for a gallon of gas, regular gas, throughout the country? Every market's different. California always, boosts that average way up high. So it's $3.93 per gallon right now for regular unleaded in the U.S. It was $3.926 yesterday and has dropped from high levels earlier this year. Prices vary by state. California, obviously the highest. It's $5 to $6, and some, that's pretty typical, right? That's the same thing. So that's where we are right now. Why hasn't it dropped then if all of this oil is being released as quickly as it is through the strait, if we have this abundance of oil? Because here's the video he attached to the post he actually just sent out last night. This was from
today. We had 19 barrels of oil, 19 million barrels of oil come off, and that's the biggest in the history of the strait, the Hormuz Strait. Our stock market is through the roof, and oil prices are tumbling. We actually hit for a moment today. In fact, I think it's going to break it, $70 a barrel. That's lower than we were when we started. And it's been amazing. And the big thing is Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
You got to follow that up with why we were there in the first place. Yes, national security for us, our kids, our grandkids, all that other stuff. But in the meantime, be kind of nice if we had some gas prices that were actually reasonable again, right? Because they said, and let's hold them accountable, they said from the get-go, it's going to be, Scott Bessent said this, the Treasury Secretary, the entire time, and he still says it, short-term pain at the pump for long-term gain. Well, according to them, they've got this deal ironed out. Oil prices per barrel are down to, and it's right about now it is, he's just at a little above $70 a barrel. So that's interesting. Why aren't these prices dropping as fast? Well, let's see. Now, we all know This has never made sense. If there's any element in consumer society, anything you spend money on, it's never made sense. The laws of supply and demand have never made sense at the pump. Never, ever. It just doesn't make, it's all based on speculation and things that could happen and this and that and the oil demand and the oil reserves and all this other crap, right? But it's true, and I'll go back to that example again. Any world event that seemed really bad, in 24 hours' time, will go up 10, 20 cents a gallon. And it's ridiculous. We've all seen it. We've all lived that. You're like, well, that's, I get gas at this station on the corner every single day, 30 cents higher than yesterday. What the hell happened? Speculation is what happened. They sure can raise prices quickly. Why can't they lower it just as quickly? And I think this is what he's getting to. Now, keep in mind, remember, this is the free market president. For him to do something is pretty extreme. My takeaway, just trying to read the tea leaves, in my opinion anyway, is that this guy knows something's up and they are playing shenanigans, probably worse than they ever had before. Let's go to the Post. I won't read the whole thing on you. I wouldn't do that to you, but it's essentially this. Again, at 12:06 a.m., he was posting about everything last night. The commies getting elected in New York State, everything else going on with the world, this. But here's the big one and the big reaction. Tell me this isn't a little bit different for the free market guy. The big oil companies not driving their price at the pump commensurate with the sharply lower prices they're paying for oil. Prices dropping like a rock. And he goes on to say, in other words, customers are being gouged. He used the G word. I've instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. This is different. This is different for President Trump to involve the DOJ into doing this. Now, is it going to happen? We don't know. But it may be enough to hold them accountable. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I'm seeing. And signs it President DJT. Interesting with Trump, if you follow these truth social posts, which always get retweeted on X, when he signs things, President DJT, he's dead serious. When he signs things that are kind of like comical or he's like calling somebody a new nickname, it's, thank you for your attention to this matter. But when he signs it, President DJT, deadly serious about this. Is he capable, and would he have our Department of Justice look into all of these oil companies, many of them foreign-based? Would he? Could he? Sure he could. Absolutely. It would be long. It would be drawn out. It would be, their executives drawn in for questioning and all this other stuff before Congress and all this other crap. But the threat of him, keep in mind what we just came off of. This is a guy that threatened Iran to shape up its act and stop murdering their citizens and get rid of their nuclear weapons or we're going to blow you to smithereens. And he came just short of doing that. Do you think the oil companies, the executives are sitting there going, he doesn't mean it? No, they're not, because he means it. He's deadly serious to do whatever is when the executive branch's power to look into this crap. So would he? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. But more important than that, this isn't really a message about sicking the DOJ against the oil companies. I don't think. I think what this is, again, one guy's opinion, but we know a lot about how this guy operates now, right? It's all about persuasion. I think this is a message to the American people to say help is on the way, and I think this is why we went into Iran. That's what I think this is. Is it going to lead into lower prices for your July 4th travel trip? It very well could. We'll see. We'll see if it actually happens. I'm going to give you my warning. It is my civic duty to tell you how this is going to be portrayed in the media, because just keeping an eye on this thing right before I press the button for the live stream, it's already happening. So the mainstream networks got a hold of this in the tweet, and they're all over it, obviously, right? And they're mocking him. To summarize, and I don't have any clips for you on this, but to summarize, this is how they're portraying this thing. President Trump threatens legal action against oil companies. Can he even do this? And then they bring in their talking heads to say, no, we can't do that. Oh, ridiculous. Now he's blaming the high oil prices and the Iran war he caused on these oil companies. So that's their reaction. Keep in mind, as always, as you know already, nobody needs to tell you this, certainly not me, these are the same exact people that have been complaining about oil prices for like 3 months now. Just keep in mind. So here he is trying to do something about it, about the shenanigans the oil companies have been playing on us for years, and you have this. Now, we're right. Is there some of this? Let's be honest. Let's be big boys and girls in the room. Is a lot of this politically motivated? Because we're heading into, let's not forget, not only July 4th travel holiday weekend, and boy, AAA is about to come out with their yearly thing where they always do. It's been the same for the past 15, 20 years. Record high Car travel is expected this despite the high gas prices. They say it every single year. I think they copy and paste the same headline every single year what's coming, and it will be. There will be a record number of people traveling for the July 4th holiday again this year. Not only July 4th, this is the July 4th America Independence Days of all Independence Days. This is the big one. Biggest one in our lifetime, unless you're old like me and you were around for 1976. It is, of course, the 250. Does President Trump want people complaining about high gas prices still for America's 250th birthday, which he is psyched to oversee? How many people travel to Washington, D.C. for that event? How many people go into national parks, right? Does he want that? And also, let's not forget this. Not that far, not that long after July 4th, Independence Day for America's 250th birthday, we've got the midterms coming up. Does he want to get ahead of this now and have lower gas prices for all of his Trump-backed candidates heading into the midterms? And does he want this to actually happen? Yes, he does. There is a political element to this, obviously. But there's also one more thing. Besides the persuasion, wants to get this going. It'll be good for the midterms, good for average Americans. It seals the deal on the Iran deal, and it settles the question once and for all why we're there. There's one more element in this entire thing on why we would want gas prices lower for this particular period in time. Because we've got also holiday travel coming up for the rest of the year. And he seals the deal, and he can tell the American public once and for all. This is why this message went out. Once and for all, that this was a victory in Iran. The average person, let's just face it, they're not going to look at this deal and say, hey, look at that. We got them to agree to inspectors to look at their nuclear dust for the next 100 years. Average Joe and Jane ain't going to be talking about that. They're just not. They're not. What are they going to do? What's the average? You overhear a conversation at lunch at some cafe or even a bar or whatever it is. What are people going to say? How are they going to connect Iran and success? Yeah, the gas prices are lowest they've ever been. What if they go down? What if they go below $3 a gallon? It's not out of the realm of possibility if it's true and they're saying that all this oil is flowing back and we've got all these reserves and there's abundance of oil and it's all based on speculation. It's not a crazy thought to say it's under $3 a gallon. What's the average American gonna say? And it'll even be deniable for Trump haters. Wow, gas prices are way better. Not going to hear that on CNN. Not going to hear it on NBC. But the average person is going to look at the Iran thing. And they're not going to think about nuclear safety. They're not going to think about, protecting our allies. They're not going to think about the safety of your kids or grandkids in the future, getting rid of the world's biggest sponsor of terror. They're going to look at the Iran deal and going to tie that to, I could afford to drive on a vacation again. That's just the way we are. We have ADD when it comes to news stories. How does it affect us directly in our wallet or a pocketbook and what's going on with the story? That's how we're going to see it. So the final thing, and he's very confident too, that everything is going to work out with this Iran deal. But he's selling it to the American people, I think, in the form of lower gas prices. That's why he's making this threat to sick the DOJ on him to investigate all these shenanigans, which is actually pretty cool. I enjoy the hell out of it. But again, remember this. There's the big takeaway on this. For this guy, the most free market president we've ever had, to even hint of getting legal action using the government, the biggest portion of the government, to investigate, private industry, he could, but does he actually want to do that unless he knows that they are playing shenanigans on us? No, he knows something's up. So if I was to bet on this, and I think a lot of people are, obviously in the stock market and your 401k, it's probably going to work. It probably is going to hold these oil companies accountable, and I hope it does, because we've all been gouged for years. They can sure raise them fast, but they're really slow to lower them, so maybe. But remember this as they go forward. The media is going to tell you that he's blaming oil companies for a failure in Iran. That's how they're going to pose this thing. But he's selling this to connect the win in Iran with gas maybe potentially under $3. And if he does, so what? We all win. Don't we want that? I'll take it. Anyway, we'll see. Keep an eye on that. Interesting. No. Different kind of post from him. Not a lot of information from him surprises me anyway, or you, but that was a different one. It's never a dull moment. So hanging out with me. Let's hope for lower gas prices. Maybe it'll happen by today. I doubt it, but we'll see. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Audio podcast listeners, show is posted right after we get off the live stream, usually around 9 a.m. Eastern time, and it's there for you forever. And then the replay on X and YouTube and Facebook. And we're live for the live stream on those same channels, 8 a.m. Eastern time every single day, Monday through Friday. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you later.